Hi, Tricia.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome to Truth Teller Tales, a labor of love, episode 7. Wow, this is so awesome. I can't believe it. And there's just so many people who are behind the scenes in this movement. This truly is such a labor of love, and we've had all different, folks who are involved behind the scenes. And today, I'm just so excited because it's two sisters, and it's the most timely time to talk to these two ladies as well. Don't you agree, Tricia?
Yes, this is going to be, so this is our first sister episode. I know we've done the
Yeah.
wives and we've done the mods and we've done the Canada version. And I think the sister episode's going to be so good. You're right, it's timely because they're both from Minnesota and we have been
Mhm.
hearing so much about Minnesota. Well, we have been, but it's definitely very much in the news. The well, a little pre-show stories that we know we're going to be talking about um, are going to be a little bit of how much these two women are active in our Patriot community in a variety of different ways. And we're going to highlight those. We're going to talk about exactly what they've experienced politically in the state of Minnesota. And then we're going to get some interesting facts that I think people may not know about what it really is like to live there and what's going on. And then we're going to have a lot of fun too, because you never know what happens when you get two sisters together.
I know. Let's bring him to the stage. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
yay! It's so good to see you, Quinny and Sheila. Quinny is the famous one with her
Oh
Q
my
pub
God.
that she has in Minnesota. Yes, this is so
Hi, Ellen. Hi, Tricia. How are you?
Hello, and we thank you. I know it's you had a snowy morning that you had to get to the pub today to join us, and we really, really appreciate it.
You're
We're
welcome.
super
Every
excited.
day, every day is snowing around here. Every day is snowing cold for the next couple of months. It's going to get down to like 2 degrees tonight, and we're thrilled.
wow. Well, it's New Year's Eve. It's bound to be a very busy time at the pub.
I hope so. And weather depending. They call it amateur night. So, but we got a little bit of older group. So we'll be lucky to have probably about 5, 6 people at midnight in here, which is fine. But if
Yeah.
we're busy early on, what I do every year is I do New Year's around the world. So for the people, we can have older people there at 5 and 6 o'clock. So 5 o'clock, I'll say, okay, who's celebrating New Year's right now? And it might be towards China or not quite that far, but so every hour I go, yay, New Year's in Frankfurt, Germany, woo! And then I'll give everybody
Oh,
a champagne toast every hour on the hour for wherever it is. So it's
That's
kind of
a
cool.
great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And then you can, for those of us that are like ready to get to bed early, you can you can bow out gracefully.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
well,
I'll
I
just
do want to start about your restaurant. Tell us about that, just and when that started. And it just looks like such a fun, cool place.
Well, I was married and I long story, but I did move out and because of problems he had with his son, my stepson. And I told him we need to go to counseling. He wouldn't go. So I moved out and he divorced me as quick as he could and said I was crazy. And it had to do with Q stuff. And I tried my best to get him to see things. But guess who's seeing things now? Oh well, a little late.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, we had another bar, and so we were looking around. So then we bought what is known as Quinny's, and in 2018, and a year and a half into it, COVID hit, and we had it on a 5-year contract for deed. And he goes, "Let's just give it back to the original owner." I said, "I'm not taking a $300,000 hit, no way." So my son and I pretty much kicked my husband out at the time and said no. So we just did our own plan and we arranged the restaurant different. I loaded the place with live music 3 days a week,
Oh, yeah.
trivia, karaoke, poker. So I have a lot going. And bingo. We always had bingo though. Bingo on Saturday. So then when I was going through my divorce, I was offered another part of the strip mall that I'm in to develop. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Well, because originally I wanted to call this Pub Q, and I got vetoed in 2018. And so I ended up naming this Quinny's, and then Pub Q. I'm like, this is Pub Q. There's no doubt. And it's funny because most people don't understand what it means. They go, oh, Quinny's Q, ha, ha, funny. So I opened that up, and it's been a journey because I fired the first builder. Long story short, we never got to court, went to mediation. He threatened me basically with bankrupting me because he had deeper pockets. So I have to pay the first builder. And, I keep thinking there's a reason why I'm here. I shouldn't be here. I should have had to sell this whole thing and went on my merry way because of the debt.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm making it. And the good Lord put in my heart to buy silver back in 2021, 2022. So I bought a ton of it. And then I asked her, I go, well, I can get this loan. Should I buy silver? And she goes, yeah. So I bought quite a bit of silver. And when it gets really squishy, I end up selling a little bit to pay what I have to pay. And it's going up so much that I have triple of what I originally started with. So it's still paying for itself. So that's a total God thing, that's a total God thing. And Pub Q is the place where people can meet. And it is a very unique, it's styled after a 1920s Irish pub. So it's pretty darn cool. And at first it was a love-hate because that's a regular Quinny's. That was a few years ago. That's
Okay.
regular Quinny's before Pub Q. And a couple when it first started and I was going through the lawsuit, it was a love-hate. I was like, what? I could have a lot of money in the bank right now and just hanging out. And I'm like, but I wouldn't be happy. And I definitely wouldn't have Pub Q if I was still married to my ex. There's no way.
Wow.
No way. It wouldn't be the same. So it's doing well. People come up to me every day and say how much they appreciate the fact that I built that the community needed it. And as a business person, probably not a good decision. As a person who believes in the Great Awakening and what we are about to embark on for the future, it's exactly what we need. Because I do birthdays, anniversaries, tons of celebrations of life. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
It is so cool and you go in there and people aren't crying or anything. Even we've had younger people who've died where the parents had to be there, and nobody's like depressed. It helps people in a way that I just didn't realize when I decided to build it. So I'm thrilled to have it. And I get to have my family stuff. We had Christmas Eve with the family and any other stragglers who want to join us because it's big enough and it works. So I'm pretty thrilled.
That's so exciting. That's the case. And, and how often do people come in and actually understand the meaning behind the Q? Does that happen very often?
Only when I have my Patriot meetings. Other than that, the average Joe doesn't get it. Now, if I talked to them individually and told them, then they would understand. And as a matter of fact, there's a gentleman who comes in here by himself once in a while, sits and has a bite to eat, and he'll do the E-tabs, which is the gambling things. And he was in the hallway like last week, and he goes, "Hey, Quinny." He goes, "Yeah, I saw you on Rumble on a podcast." And I looked now I've seen this guy for years. Had no idea. And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you're on Rambo or something like that." I go, You're into Q?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Why didn't you say something to me 2 years ago?" He goes, "I don't know. I'm into it." And I'm like, well, how cool is that?
Yes.
Pretty fun.
Totally cool. And it's so awesome. So to get to know the two of you sisters, take us back when you were kids. Have you always been in Minnesota? I mean, what has your family dynamic
You
been?
can tell the history of it.
We are actually the only two native Minnesotans of all our siblings. All the rest of them were born in LA,
Oh,
or
wow.
Santa Paula, California.
But my parents are from here.
Yeah,
and
our parents are from here, and my dad had moved out to California. He went to Cal State,
no, USC.
USC,
for
yeah,
grad school.
yeah, for grad school. So anyway, they were all born there. Back in, well, my older brother was born in 61. That's when they decided to come home. And everybody would ask him, "Why'd you come home?" And he goes, "Oh, California's getting really bad." And this is 1961. You can imagine, bad. So then they came here and then had me shortly thereafter, and then her 18 months later. So we were born in St. Paul.
Yep.
Minnesota.
Wow.
Yep.
So you guys are just 18 months apart.
Yeah. And I'm the youngest of 9. There's 9 of us.
Wow.
My oldest brother passed away of cancer in 2019, which now what we know about cancer, it breaks my heart that there shouldn't be people dying of cancer. So,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, my parents had 9. There we are. There's us 2 girls in front. My oldest brother is back left that passed away, but yeah, 9 and 12 years.
Oh my
Craziness.
gosh.
Yeah.
So are your parents still alive?
Oh, no. My dad would be 100 and my mom would be 96. And
Oh,
they had the
wow.
same birthday, and I have a picture of them up in the pub that my kids took of their wedding picture. Their wedding picture, my mom was pregnant, so they did a quickie wedding out in California, and so we had this little teeny 4x6 picture of them, if that, and my sons colorized it and blew it up, and it's in the pub, and on each side of the picture I have them each. They have the same birthday, October 25th, but they're 4 years apart, and they're each 2 years old in the picture. So I'm starting to put oldie relative pictures in the pub right now, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's so fun. And so did you all get along as siblings? I mean, that's a lot. Or was there just chaos all the time, or what?
It was insane, but a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because we were always fighting and always getting hurt.
And always playing sports outside in the yard.
Yeah, we were all, the oldest brother, although he loved to ski, play tennis and stuff, he was not an athlete by definition, where the remaining 8 of us were all into sports and stuff too. So
huge,
because my dad played football in college, and then and he went to a bowl game. He was in a bowl game,
Division III bowl game in Florida. Yeah, he was an outstanding athlete, and he was also a diver at St. Thomas College, which is a Division III college. Well, they're going Division I this winter for basketball. Very prominent. Was it Vince Flynn, the writer that passed away? Very excellent writer. He's from Minnesota, and he went there, and who else? A bunch of famous people went to St. Thomas College. So it's a great. St. Paul they call it St. Small. It is a phenomenal place, and it was a great place to be raised and grow up, and very tight-knit communities. And the influx of all the immigrants really changed things, and the liberals taking over the political structure and the schools. We used to have to go to the school that was near our neighborhood, and
St. Thomas is I see a lot of candidates in medical device industry that went to St. Thomas.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah. Yep. It's huge. Yep.
Well, so tell us about that picture.
I was by the jersey, I was a freshman in college, and Janice must have been
In 11th grade.
11th grade. And then up in the corner is my brother, who was spent 5 years in the Navy.
Oh, wow. Now I can tell that athleticism is in the family, obviously.
Oh,
with
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
there's a good story. We were when we were kids, we were swimmers. That was the sport of we got stuck into.
Here's your
went into.
swimsuit and goggles. It's
Yeah,
a cheap
yeah.
sport to be in.
Yeah. So we always had our hair cut short. You know, back then you didn't wear bathing caps or anything. And in fact, when I started, they didn't have goggles. They had Vaseline or Visine at the end of the pool to rinse your eyes when you were done swimming. But
Oh my God.
I always had the short hair. She had the short hair, but when we were 8, 10 years old, we'd go to swim practice in the high school. So we'd come in after, there'd be high school girls in the locker room, and we'd come walking in and they'd scream, and we'd be like, what? And they go, there's that boy in the locker room. And I'm like, no, I'm a girl. So for a while, I'm not kidding you, I'm like 8, 10 years old in that time frame. And I've got short hair. I'm a tomboy because I not only swam, I played ball, I did all kinds of stuff. And I was like, Mom, should I have been a boy? Did God mess up? And, this is 1970. And my mom went, no, God doesn't mess up. You're a girl. And I go, oh, okay. Well, and then I got the tomboy thing. I mean, that's been around forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Like, look at it today.
I know.
Get a kid that thinks like that, and
yeah,
over
put them on
and done
hormones
with.
and
Over and done with.
Yeah,
You could go into any locker room you want now.
right? No, thank you. I'll pass.
Yeah.
I remember at a swim meet, you used to sit in gymnasiums at the schools for the swim meets, and I'm playing basketball by myself. And these two boys came up and they go, hey, you want to play basketball? And I said, sure. We played pig, horse, whatever, around the world. And I beat them in all the games. And then all of a sudden my mom says, Sheila, get over here. It's time for your event. And I go, okay, Mom. And they go, Sheila? And I go, that's my name. And they were like, you're a girl? And I go, yeah. And then they both went, we both got beat by a girl. I just started laughing and walked away. So that was, my childhood. She's a boy.
Yeah. That's when it was fun to be a tomboy, though. There wasn't people didn't question it. You were just a tomboy.
Everybody was afraid of me.
I love that. So did either of you have to stick up for each other with other kids? Was there ever any of that?
My brother, the neighbor girl liked him, and she used to come up and just punch him in the back of the head and stuff. And I'd be turning around. I tell my brother, I go, smack her up, man. She'll leave you alone. And he was like, okay, I'd hit a girl. And I go, I can. Can I? And he goes, go ahead. So I walked over. I said, you touch my brother again, I'm going to nail you. And she did it, and I nailed her, and that was that. And it was over. But that's the only time I've ever gotten a fight or hurt somebody, or that was my brother. I felt bad.
Yes, of course. And so you obviously all went separate ways, but then at some point the two of you sisters came back together, and tell us about that. And you both obviously have the same philosophies of life and politics and everything. When did you all come back together and be close in proximity and close again?
Well, she lived in the picture of us shows the picture that you have of us eating the seafood. She lived out in California, and I went out there to visit her. That was
that wasn't visiting Gary.
Oh, was it?
That was visiting Gary.
Oh, in San Francisco? Or Gary? Yeah, that was. We were out in California. Went to Mexico.
Yeah, that was.
But you weren't living out there at the time.
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Out there.
Anyways, yeah, that was in California. That
was our 72-hour trip.
I was 30 some years old there. Can you believe that? I look like I'm 18. Yeah,
Wow.
I was pretty young. I had 2 kids at that time, so
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You don't look
I
that
know
old.
I look like a kid. Anyway, so she moved to California in what year was it?
1990.
90, and lived there for a while, and um, decided after the earthquake, which one, the Reseda,
Yeah, I
LA
was in
earthquake.
the epicenter of the Northridge earthquake in 1994.
And she said, hell with this. And then she moved back. Then she kind of had, before she got a job, helped me with my 2 youngins. And real quickly, I was only married to my ex for 5 years. We had the 2 boys. And we went through life with, you know, I'm raising my kids, working.
Mhm.
She's doing her thing, but we always played softball together. So we always saw each other. Really didn't talk a lot about politics. We all knew that we were on the same page, but we didn't go there because back then there was not a need to really talk about that kind of stuff because life was okay. We accepted
Right.
that we had to work a lot to pay our bills. But they just kept pushing to the point where we got to where we're at with the whole Q thing, that everybody woke up. I mean, I kind of woke up a little bit in about 2008, 2009 when they said, here, take this flu shot. And I'm like, no, I'm a healthy person. Why would I take that stuff? And then I ran for Minnesota Senate in 2012, and that really opened my eyes. And I lost, and I didn't think much about voter fraud back then, but I knew the system was rigged. So from that point on, the awakening was really a lot quicker than 2019. 2020 was we're here, you know. And then she can tell you about her issues with what she found out regarding your flu shot, and getting
Oh,
Yeah.
so wrong.
I never got vaccines since I was a little child, and my husband's a germaphobe, and uh, I don't know, mid 20 teens, he was like, you should get a flu shot. And I go, I don't get flu shots. And he goes, no, would you do it for me? And I go, okay, I'll get a flu shot. I don't care, you know. So I get the flu shot, and about 18 months later, I'm in for a checkup with my doctor, who I loved dearly. He says, something going on with your liver. And I said, what? And he goes, I don't know. We'll have to do some tests. He goes, actually, I'm just going to send you to a specialist. So he sends me to the specialist, and the specialist is asking me questions. And he goes, you're a baby boomer, right? And I said, yeah, right on the edge. And he's like, did you ever live in a commune in the 60s? And I'm like, I was 7. You know, I go, no. And he goes, you know, because they shared needles and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on with this? So I had to go out and make an appointment to get some blood drawn. And I'm like, I'm just going to leave because this guy is freaking me out. So I blew it off for about 6 months. And then I went back to my doctor, and he says, well, I told him, I go, the guy was weird, you know, asking me if I lived in a commune, you know. And so
Parents
he
were
had me
hippies.
get an ultrasound just to see that I didn't have cancer or anything. And then he was like, no cancer or anything. So he goes, we got to find you a specialist. So I found this guy. He's actually, I like him a lot. He's a pretty good guy. I find this guy. He kind of already knows what's going on, but he wants to make sure. And it took me a while to get in to see him. It takes months to get into a specialist. So he wants me to get a liver biopsy. Well, meantime, I'm kind of paying attention to the numbers from the tests that I'm having and stuff. And this is an example of I'm not into details, so but my liver enzymes are supposed to be 120 or under. I don't know the name of the test or whatever. Mine were 1500 when my
Wow.
doctor first
Wow.
did it. Okay. About that same time, she and I had started drinking celery juice. We listened to Glenn Beck. He had this guy on talking about celery juice and what it's. So she buys the book. We start the program. 6 months into it, the specialist does my blood test, and it's down to 1,200. So it went from 15 to 1,200. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And I didn't put the correlation at first, you know. So they do
Mhm.
the liver biopsy, said, yeah, you've been diagnosed. I have an autoimmune disease. And they give you the, we don't know what causes it, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, 2 years after a flu shot. And I didn't really think of it until COVID hit. Because
Mhm.
right when COVID came, you know, March of 2020, you could go on the internet and find anything about anything. But once May 2020 came, the whole thing about viruses just kind of disappeared off the internet. You had to really dig for stuff.
Yeah.
So by the summer of 2020, I knew by then I was the virus doesn't exist thing and the whole poisoning. So I had a handle on what might have caused my autoimmune disease. So meanwhile, the celery, what does celery juice do? Cleanses the liver, right? So within 1 year of me being diagnosed, they did put me on a drug. It's a kind of a newer drug, which I'm okay with because I think this has been going on forever, and I think we're already into more positive things, even though it looks like it's bad. I think more good is going on behind the scenes than what
Mhm.
you're seeing. Okay.
I
So
agree.
anyway, so I'm on this pill. I'm going to take this pill, but within the first year, this pill doesn't cure me. It just slows the process, right?
Because you eventually need a new liver with the. There was a what's his name that was on Fox News. He ended up having to go in
Patrick Henry.
Patrick Quinny. He had to go in and donate part of his liver to his sister,
Because
and
she had the same one.
and I am the same blood type as her. So I'm like, hey, when it's time, you can have a piece of my liver, and she said, don't worry about it yet. Well, celery juice did the
And
trick.
and here's the thing: is when they first did the biopsy, they were like, your scarring is 3 out of 4. And I said, well, what's 4? And they go, cirrhosis of the liver.
And it doesn't
And
have to do
I'm
with
just like
drinking.
going,
Nothing to do with drinking.
3 of 4. I'm right there, you know. So
Wow.
now we'll go forward. A year later, I get my labs. I'm in with my talking to my specialist, and he goes, you're under 120.
Wow.
From the 1,500 to the range within a year's time. And I believe it's the medication, but mostly the celery juice. So every year I see my specialist. I do labs twice a year. I see my specialist once a year. And for the last 4, I've been going, celery juice. It's celery juice. I'm telling you, it's celery juice, you know? And he's like, yeah, but there's no scientific, scientific what, you know? So
Yeah.
this last year he did a fibrogram or something on my liver. It's like a sonogram, but it's a different thing where they can tell what's going on with the liver, right? So I go to see him, and he says, yeah, I looked at your test, and he says, uh, your liver, it's there's no scarring. You've reversed the scarring, and it's squishy like it's supposed to be. And he said,
Wow.
because I'm going to have to tell you this, but you're normal. I go, oh, yeah. My husband might disagree, but thank you. And then
Wow.
he said, now you told me you drink celery juice, right? And I go, every freaking year, yeah.
A day, every day.
No, I tell him every year
Okay.
that I go, every year I tell you this, that it's the celery juice. And he's like, well, I'm going to kind of,
Sheila,
But
Yeah.
celery juice, if you really look it up, they say if you're going to start juicing, celery juice is the number one. And all of a sudden, I was at the gym and I was talking to a girlfriend. And she goes, "Yeah, my husband every day I make it for my husband and my 3 kids." She said, "I she believes in it 100%. It wakes you up in the morning. Instead of having coffee, you knock back at least 16 ounces of celery juice." And it helps inflammation. I'm a power lifter, and the fact that my body can do what it can do is amazing, to say the least. So it cured her autoimmune liver disease that you don't get cured from this disease. You
No.
eventually have to get a new liver. And
Right.
and the doctors won't believe it. And I'm like, hey, and that the number of people that I've gotten into at work here too, from celery juice to celery juice. Oh my God. Pretty soon. Okay, tell me about this celery juicing. So now my roommate's daughter she's 23 years old or 24. She breaks out. She gets acne, and I go, that's an internal thing. So she bought her the celery book, and when she gets back, she lives in Tampa. She's going back on Friday. She's going to start juicing celery to see if that clears up her acne, because it's really bad. She's a beautiful girl, but her whole face is just really, really bad. But I tell everybody, I go, it's a lot of work. It's time consuming, because it's only good for 48 hours. So by the time you chop it up, scrub it down, juice it, clean the juicer, every 2 days, I'm doing it. And I do it for my roommate. I do it for my son. I mean, I'm always juicing for people. And so that's what I do.
Can I ask Sheila, what was the drug that you were on?
Ursula.
Yes.
You are SOIL or Uracil.
Two things. First of all, I listen to Glenn Beck every day, but I didn't hear the part about the celery juicing. You were supposed to hear that.
Yeah.
And you were supposed to know that and be drinking that, which is amazing. That's why, nothing is an accident in what's put before us,
Yeah, and we were supposed to. Glenn Beck had a cruise set up. What was it called? Cruise Through History?
Yeah.
Cruise Through History. We both signed up. I upgraded for everything. We're supposed to have dinner with Glenn 3 times. They were showing Freedom. What's the movie called? The child trafficking movie.
Something Freedom.
Jim Caviezel.
Yes.
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
So that we were going to get to see the premiere of it before it came out. That was in 2020, and Bill O'Reilly was supposed to be on it. It was going to be all patriots. The whole Croatia. Leave out of Italy, Venice. Go to Croatia. Go to Israel. Go up to Greece. This was going to be the cruise of a lifetime. March 2020.
Oh.
And not only that, is the company that he hired to do it went belly up, and there was a class action suit, and we got nothing.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So and we had to prepay for everything. And I think, and I don't know, I think Sheila kind of believes the same, that we will be rewarded for the fact that what we have endured. I believe the white hats have something so huge for everybody in the future. This crap show that we've had to go through for so many years, it's at the peak, and I gotta believe, way to stick with it, and here you go, whatever it may be, whatever that means, I don't know. So
yeah, no, I agree, totally agree with that. So I want to transition a little bit, because I would love to talk about what happened when you were on with Dave and Rambo, where you talked about that shooting. And I even forgot about that shooting. First, will you tell us a summary again of what supposedly happened there? And then I'm going to play the little video of you on with them.
Sure. Okay. Our chiropractor, who is amazing, 100% awake, but she doesn't watch podcasts at all. She knows that we're going through the Great Awakening and we're spiritually raising up dimensionally. I mean, she's just, I adore her. She actually fixed me from something really painful that I spent 5 months in agony, and I spent a lot of money. She got it figured out in 2 hours. She's a healer. Okay. So she lives in South Minneapolis, and it was the day after the shooting. And I'm like, I got a little time. I'm going to drive over there. So I went over there and I passed the church and all I saw was media. And I'm like, well, maybe I can park. Well, I went a block down. I parked. I'm like, I'm going to walk up. I walked up. There was just people walking around. It was the oddest thing you've ever seen. It seemed like a festival of some sort. Didn't see any cops. It was all just media. And there was no yellow tape, no nothing. And so I started taking pictures and I started taking videos. Well, I ran into a couple two different groups of kids that they had Annunciation shirts on. And I said to them, I go, so were you guys here yesterday? And they go, yeah. And there were kids that were like their adrenaline was going because they were there when something major happened. And it wasn't like a somber, oh my God, we just lost two classmates. It was, yeah, we were here. And it was, I go, well, what did you see? What'd you hear? They didn't see anything, just heard a couple bangs, loud bangs. Okay. So, and I wanted to continue the conversation. Unfortunately, New York Times lady butted her nose in and I couldn't do it. But so I videotaped that. I got to my car and I didn't even pay attention to what I videotaped. And since I'm really good friends with Patrick and his wife, Ashley, right away I said, Patrick, I just saw this and I'm going to send it to you. And in the summertime, I have a convertible and I didn't even watch the video. I was just so enamored with the ridiculousness of the whole situation. I'm videotaping. I'm not even looking at what I'm seeing. So Patrick goes, okay, it gets pixelated and stuff. He goes, you have to email it to me. So I'm in my car and I'm getting ready to go. So I quickly emailed it and I'm driving and we're talking and I don't know. I think he asked, I'm pretty sure he asked me because he wasn't going to do it without me asking. He was on Patriot Underground that day and he sent everything to Patriot Underground. And all of a sudden I get back to my office later on and I turn on Patriot Underground and there they are. And Patrick's on with Dave and Rambo and then Patriot Underground. And he goes, oh, by the way, this came out from Quinny from Minneapolis. So that was the first time it was on. And so I'm watching it in live time, watching them watch it. And all of a sudden they go, look at the door. The door says 17. And I go, I didn't even see that. Not only that is they found the camera, which never did any camera get released from that footage. Zero, except the someone filming the kids running out the back of the church, So that I was like, oh, cool. Then pretty soon Dave contacted me and said, hey, could you be on the show on Friday night? So that was on a Thursday. So then I was on the show Friday night. So
that's the clip that we have.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me play that. But just as a reminder, I'm going to play that. So supposedly this was at a church and two kids were actually shot and killed.
Yes. And he supposedly on the side of the building that I got to, you could walk anywhere you wanted. There was nothing. A day later, there was nothing.
And no yellow tape. Nothing was taped off.
Nothing. And they said he pepper sprayed the side of the building. And
with bullets.
Right away, I'm calling BS on all of this. There's no way. Not going to happen. So.
Well, let me play the clip and then I want to get your thoughts as to why all that happened. But let me just play this.
Videotaping and taking pictures. What I will say that one lady did tell me she said, I don't think you can go to the side of the shooting. They might have that closed off. They did. I mean, it was all open.
And they didn't.
It felt like I was at a fall festival or summer festival. That's what it felt like. There's no one bawling, people were just standing around talking. It was weird. It was so weird.
Quinny, I have a cousin who has a coworker. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding. But did you see one bullet hole?
Not one. And I'll tell you what. I sent Dave pictures. I went up to the wall right next to my face, and I went along the whole entire wall, And then I'm like, okay, I looked down below. They had bushes, but there was a buffer of about probably about 18 inches from the wall to the bushes, and it was rocks. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Maybe there's some glass in the rocks. None. And so I backed up a little bit, and two different groups of 5th and 6th grade boys, probably about 6 to 8 in each group. First group comes in, and I hear a kid go, I don't see any glass or bullet holes. And I just almost bust a gut. And then I saw another group, same thing. Where's the glass? Where's the bullet holes? So I approached those kids and I said, so were you guys in school? Because one of the kids had an Annunciation T-shirt on. And they go, yeah. And I go, what did you hear? And, well, loud noises. And I'm like, engaging with them, and all of a sudden this lady comes up and she goes, I'm with the New York Times. I go, son of a bitch, I can't talk anymore, because I wanted to go down the rabbit hole with these kids and see if I could engage them in talking about not say conspiracy, but to say, well, did you really see anything there? But I couldn't because of the stupid New York Times lady. So anyway,
I mean, just the fact that the kids were there, accessible to you, to even maybe have a conversation with them, that doesn't seem like reality.
That
It's just crazy. So,
Yeah.
Quinny, was there anybody else there like you that was boots
It
on the
looked like-
ground or
It
asking
looked like
questions?
people, the adults that I saw were walking like they were looking at history, and they were couples walking hand in hand, like, let's look at history here. And it was, I don't know how to describe it other than very odd. I was just like, wow. So when I did the videotape, and one of the videotapes I did across the front, and that's when the door 17 showed up. Now, the other door said 16, and then it's 17. There's not 17 doors in the whole building. There just isn't. You go around and you don't see. There's probably 6 doors maybe around the whole building. And I didn't even see that until they mentioned it on Patriot Underground. They go, oh my God, look at that. And then they looked back and said on Google Earth, picture was taken like maybe 2-3 years ago, that 17 wasn't on the door. So, and you can see the 17 looks shiny new. And also regarding the boards on those windows, supposedly those are the windows that were shot up. Those boards were old boards. And yeah, you could have old wood, cut it up and slap it up because last minute, whatever. But the nails that were in, the screws that were in the boards were in those boards for quite a long time. You can tell when a new screw has been put into a board. You just can tell because it creates a vacuum to get into the board, and the wood fibers come up. It was almost rusty, and I'm like, oh my God, we've been punked. Very interesting though. After I did that, and kind of people I knew, I kind of brought it up, just tested the waters. Holy crap. Talk about getting pissed off at me. How dare you? People got hurt and died. Sheila, go ahead and say what. She went to my chiropractor next week or something.
No, it was a while. It was a while later. No, I was with our chiropractor. Like, she said she's awake or whatever. And I said, yeah, did Janny tell you she was over at Annunciation right after the supposed murders? And she was like, what do you mean supposed? And she told me she was in line at the coffee shop when she heard the shots. And she said, and it flipped her out, and she believes it and everything. And then I said, but these shootings aren't real. None of them are real.
And she knows like Sandy Hook isn't real.
Yeah, she does. And she goes, well, unless you were here. And she ended up getting angry at me. She threw my jacket at me, and not at me, but she kind of, and I was like, okay, sorry. And then I turned around and I go, it's just about the gun issue. And then she went, I know, I've gone to these things with these people and I try to tell them it's not the gun, it's not the gun. So then we kind of came back together at that point, and then we hugged, and then everything was cool. So we're cool again.
But she never told me that she heard shots. She told me, because I was there the next day, and she told me, as a matter of fact, I was at the coffee shop and I felt it in my soul, something horrible was happening. She never mentioned any gunshots. So
and then told me it was a gunshot.
yeah, so I mean, you know what, when you're
Yeah, I
you're
know.
emotionally attached to a real close situation that hits home, you don't think correctly with your brain, you're thinking with your emotion. But one quick thing to update that now. This is so awesome now. This is how I know that people are starting to wake up, because I can say shit that 3-4 years ago I said. They looked at me and said, okay, send in the paddy wagon. Now
Right.
I told people, yeah, remember last summer that, that shooting? I went there. There's no bullet holes. And people go, really? Really? So now they're okay with believing things. And I go, we're kind of living in the Truman Show. I don't have one person that I say that to now that disagrees with me. Everybody sees the weirdo situations that we're in, that life is not what we think it always, third dimensional. You see what you get. I pick up a coffee cup. It's coffee cup. We're expanding to see things differently. It's like, well, unless I really see this coffee cup isn't here. If it's, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
elevated way of consciousness, and that spiritual
It is.
journey I think that God is putting us on right now is finally affecting others, and they can see things without getting the emotional attachment or even the cognitive dissonance that they had right at the beginning. I remember within a day or two talking to a couple of my regular customers, and they're totally right-wing people, and she's like started to weep. What do you mean children died? And I had people reach out to me because they saw me put something on. I watch. No, she's the queen of social media and just letting people have it. She doesn't give a rip. I own a business, and people, maybe my business will get better because they'll be excited to see that crazy person at the bar. But right now I'm going with they'll stay away because they won't want to be near me. So I got to watch it, but I will post on some national stuff. I'll say, hey, blah, blah, blah. So I put that. One of my friends that's right wing saw it, and she messaged me. She goes, my niece and nephew were there. They are so upset, and how dare you? You shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. I responded, yeah, I believe they were upset. I believe that what they thought happened from what they were told is upsetting them. 100%. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. That didn't mean it happened. So you got to
The way
take
we
a
were
step
told
back.
again.
Yeah. And I think history will be great regarding the truth of that, but we had to get through this, like I say, crap show of emotional crap that got thrown at us because we're awake. My husband divorced me because I'm nuts. And matter of fact, I was texting him the other day about something, and I go, well, you divorced me because I'm crazy. Because no, I didn't. Oh, now you're backpedaling on that. So you divorced me because you didn't love me. Thanks for the heads up. And he just quiet, nothing. I got nothing from that point on. So
Yeah.
people, the what do they say? The chickens are coming home to roost. People are going
Yes.
to start little at a time. Go, oh my god, oh my god. Now, will they come back and apologize in the future? I'm not going to hold my breath for it, but I'll feel warm and fuzzy knowing that they know, even if they don't admit it. So we'll see.
Absolutely. I mean, can you imagine this journey that we're on, that we were the first ones to be able to handle all this and be hit with all this and be crazy with it and then be peaceful with it. And so we're our emotions, we're being elevated, we're elevating others around us without them even knowing it, so that they can kind of open their minds to all of these events. I mean, it's so beautifully, divinely done.
Well, and
You just
yeah, and to your point, Ellen, if you look at so this is what I wanted to make sure that we highlighted too, was just how special the both of you are to this movement. And Sheila, unfortunately, your journey and your story, thank goodness you're having a happy outcome with the whole liver journey that you went.
I can't even explain how, other than I have a normie husband. I've had a rough marriage for the last 4 years. He's waking up slowly. He's asking me more questions. That's my goal in life, just to get through this and still be married. Because there's a lot of people. I mean, this has destroyed families and relationships and stuff,
100, yeah.
So that's my trajectory. But at the same time, like when we first got into the movement and stuff, I mean, it was an easy journey for me to figure this out, because I figured out we grew up Catholic. By 14, I ran from that church. I go, all they're doing is trying to scare us. When we were kids, the world was going to freeze. By the time I was in high school, I knew everything was about fear. And why did they want to scare us every couple seconds, Yeah. And then I took my college psychology course. We had this teacher. He was awesome. He had us do this assignment where we sat and watched 4 days of Bermuda Triangle movies. Woo, all these planes get lost, and we had to write a paper on it, what we thought of the Bermuda Triangle. We're all like, oh my God, there's this force in the so and then the following week he has 4 days of how it's fake, like these 5 planes that left the coast never were near the Bermuda. Nothing ever was ever lost, and they're lost in places, but it's never, they just put it there. Why? Because it sells books and blah, 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 blah. So after watching four days of videos of why it isn't true, he says, now write a paper. And he said, remember that, and from that point on, everything in my mind was, oh, it's all fake. It's all fake. Yeah. And so to be here now going, it was, woo, I knew it. Yeah. I knew it back when I was a teenager. I knew it. And like I said, the fear thing came, right away. So
yeah, good for that teacher.
But now I with her, I'm retired. I retired in 21 because I was mandated the COVID shot by the city of St. Paul, who I work for. And I said no. And I could fight it because I knew at that point viruses didn't exist. And there was ways I could have done that. Sometimes I think I should have. I don't know. But I just walked away from it and I concentrated on my health. And another thing with the celery juice, I was told 10 years ago I needed knee replacement. I run 6 miles a day on that knee. Why? Because I don't have any inflammation. I built the thigh. I spent 2 years on a bike, built the thigh up, and now I can run every day And I, to me, I'm like, if I couldn't run, I don't know what I'd do. I've always, we were swimmers, but my passion was always running, but I sucked at it. So I was a better swimmer.
That's very interesting, because I was told the same thing years ago, that I needed knee replacements, but I was too young. So I am going to get some celery today.
I'm telling you, get the book.
I do 24 ounces a day.
What's the book?
I do.
It's called it's by the Medical Medium. Then type in Medical Medium celery. It's on Amazon. You can get it. I bought a couple books here, and I know I have one still sitting around. People just keep grabbing them.
And there's a lot of other little quirky things that I never noticed before. Like I had little spider veins on the side of my knees, gone. Yeah, I had a toenail that was kind of crusty. Yeah. just little tiny things over. So what I'm doing now is I'm finding ways. All my reels are about turmeric and cinnamon and cloves and the combinations, and I'm writing these things down, and I'm actually being my own guinea pig with things to see if
Mhm.
this stuff is working, because I think after everything is said and done, my job in this is going to help heal people physically.
Yes,
So
that's
I'm gathering the now, and I have uh, I'm a certified massage therapist, so I have that background and an athlete, and I've had education, and so I'm combining that with all the things I've taught myself in the last 4 years by learning about the medical industry and how they've tried to kill us from birth, and how to just clean yourself up, and stuff like that. I think I will be able to help people.
Do you mind me asking what year it was that flu shot that you got?
I would think 2016 maybe.
Because I'm wondering, I mean, like you weren't barraged with them like many of us were, from
Well,
childhood. It sounded like so just that one was able to do that amount of damage to you. I think that's interesting. And I
well,
when
do
I
you
said
look at the COVID shot?
yeah,
Kills
but,
people.
but that's
Well,
also kind of a battery of like, are these things happening because over time like boom, 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 they keep attacking the immune system. But with you didn't have that barrage, but yet that one
But
really, really went to
it
your
it
liver.
could have also been, we were swimmers, grew up swimming in chlorinated pools, you know, ex-
Yeah, that's yeah,
exposure
okay.
to chemicals, just to build up a thing. Maybe that threw it over the edge.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, I find it coincidental within 18 months of that all of a sudden I'm diagnosed with, it just,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have I have live music here 3 days a week that I mentioned, and one of the singers, she sings at a church called Eaglebrook Church, which is a non-denominational, more of a biblical, and it's really, I've gone to a lot of them. I was dating a biblical Christian up until a year and a half ago, and that's a long story, but he basically told me I had to be home at this time. I had to do that. You own a bar, people drink. It was okay when I first started dating you, but now it's not okay. But anyway, um, so at Eaglebrook, so I found this woman and her husband. My ex-boyfriend and I were at the state fair, and they were performing, and so I said, I'd love to have you at my restaurant. So she started performing, and we got to talking because she knew I was in powerlifting, and you could tell she was out of shape. She gained a lot of weight, and she goes, yeah. And I also ice dip. I go ice plunging. So I go in the lakes. We have a group that cuts a hole. We have a fence around it, ladder and everything. And my record is 26 minutes, but
Wow.
typically I go 10 to 15 minutes, and I don't like my arms in. My friend whose brother started it, she has problems with arthritis and stuff, so she likes to put her hands and arms in, and to me it's not quite worth it, because the ache is not worth it. I can't deal with that. And I do that. And then we had a swim meet last February, and I swam 50 meters in 34 degrees, and it was a blast. And you just push yourself. So the singer, resonated with all the stuff I was doing. So we got to be really good friends. And I was in the pub, and she was going to be singing at Quinny's, and she walked over and she goes, and she had this odd look at her on her face, and I go, Donnell, what's wrong? And her voice is like, she's gift from God, like an angel. And I go, what's wrong? She goes, I don't know. I've been going to the doctor. Something's wrong with me. And they think I might have had a stroke. 38 years old. And I
Wow.
go, what? And yeah, she was overweight, but I don't know a lot of 38 years olds that have strokes just because they're
Yeah.
overweight, a female. And I go, okay, Dawn, you know me. Do they think it's from the COVID shot? She goes, I do, and they won't admit it. And she had a bunch of the COVID shots, and she was not that. We never talked politics. I think she was more right wing, but and she goes, they won't admit it. Okay, so that was that one night, and then I had her back. I don't know how many months later, and I'm walking through the restaurant, and I knew that they were performing that night, and I come out of my office and I see someone sitting up there, like in a different type of a chair, and I hear her singing, and the voice was a little different. And I'm like, maybe Zach got someone to replace his wife just for the night, whatever. I walked up, and it was Donnell. She was in a wheelchair. And I go, oh my God. And she couldn't sing nearly what she could sing before. So Zach, is her husband, sang a bunch more than he normally does. So on her break, I go, Donnell, what happened? And she says, I got Guillain-Barré, whatever that, or
Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome.
And that's, it says right in the description, it's from vaccinations. And I go, oh my gosh, Donnell, you got that from the COVID shots. She goes, I know. She kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so then they did a food thing. So I would deliver food to her house. I own a restaurant. I tell my cooks what to make, and I deliver it. Not a big deal for me. A lot of people have to make things and stuff, and I'm like, I'll just order it. Anyway, so I delivered to her house, and cute story though. I'm in there, and she's on the couch. She has her mom watching her while her husband's at work, and her little dog she had, I forgot the name of it, short legs, and all of a sudden it's jumping up on me, sweet little dog, and she goes, Shaka Khan, get down. And I go, do you ever look at your dog and say, Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan? She started laughing. So that was just a cute little story. Anyway, slowly she got better, and the Eaglebrook Church came into my restaurant and did a whole entire thing on her and her struggles. And she's doing these infusions now. She can walk, her voice is much better, but she's still not great, and she always wanted to have kids, and now it's too late. She's 42 years old or something, and it's very tragic and sad, and she should be the poster child. Other than my boyfriend's brother, who had the COVID shots, his wife was a nurse and said, don't get them. They haven't tested them. Don't do it. And he goes, I've had vaccinations my whole life. I'm not worried. He had a couple shots. His wife called my boyfriend and said, you need to come out here. Something's wrong with your brother. And so he flew out. He golfed with he wasn't the same person. He was despondent. He was depressed, just totally different. His brother was like high up in the aeronautics field. I mean, just a unbelievable man. And so he goes, I don't know what to tell you. He goes home. A couple weeks later, his sister calls and said, are you sitting down? And he said, yeah, what's up? And he goes, your brother just blew his head off. And Tim told me, tell everybody you know, that's the COVID shot. That's the, you have your strokes, you have your heart attacks, you have all the other issues that people talk about with COVID. Depression is a huge one. And it would be interesting if anybody could go around and look at the you could count that as a COVID death, I mean, as it sounds, but he said, tell everybody that is how my brother died, because of the COVID shot. And that's something for the future that I'm hoping the White Hats really let everybody know about that, because of course we were crazy. Even my ex-husband, he had all these COVID tests laying around. I go, what is this? These don't work. Carrie Mullis, who created the PCR test, said you cannot test a virus. And he goes, well, my brother gave them to me. They're free. I go, oh, yeah, I'll slap you on the face for free.
That's so true.
And then my ex-husband said, I went to the doctor. They test my antibodies, and they said I had COVID, but my doctor said, to be safe, you really should get the shot. And he looked at him and goes, why? I have the antibodies. That goes against everything you people have ever said.
Yeah.
So
Of
he kind of
course.
woke up a little bit about that. And now that it's come out of COVID, he's like, I never got the shot. I go, yeah, but you took the stupid test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true.
I
So,
gotta
I
laugh
mean,
now.
seriously, I know, but I mean, it's going to be when a lot of this stuff is revealed. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be horrifying for a lot of people
Yeah.
and a lot of
Yeah.
kids that lost a year or two of their lives not being able to go to school, and there's just so much. But now your state is all over the news. So with this going into these shell companies, the Somalia's the shell companies of healthcare, is everyone talking about that in your state as well? Is that as we are all talking about it? I mean, what is the feel there with you all?
Yeah, no,
Well,
Sheila, you had a little bit of a story for us that we
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
before we turned
Sheila
the
can talk
cameras
about
on.
her social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
No, back
too.
in 2013, it came out that there was daycare fraud, and they were talking back then suitcases of millions of dollars going over to Somali for terrorism. I mean, that was,
Wow.
and that was under Dayton, our previous governor who
Oh,
was pretty
and
bad.
and this guy, I'll tell you, when I ran for Senate in 2012, Congressman, which I don't know how this plays out, who's good, who's bad, but Tom Emmer has been in the news because of the Somalian. He's our U.S. Congressman from Minnesota. He did a fundraiser for me when I ran for Senate, and I got to know him. And I think he's playing a part in this, making him look bad, making him look good, whatever it may be. I don't know, but I got to know him, and he didn't strike me as that person. Married with I think he and his wife Jackie had 5 kids, just wonderful people. But anyways, he was telling me when he ran against did he run for governor, or was that governor against Dayton?
I don't know.
Tom Emmer. Anyway, he said they were up there debating, and this was our governor who started with the fraud, and he said he had 2 suitcases, and one of the suitcases was or 2 big bags, and one of the bags was full of prescription bottles. You could see it. We're sitting there on the stage, and we're debating, and I look over at him, and he looked like he was empty, like no one's home. They'd ask him questions, and then all of a sudden, when he really checked out, his handlers said, "It's time to leave now." Was it his second term then?
Yeah.
He went to time to leave, governor, and they just dragged him off. And Tom's like, "We're in the middle of a debate." So the fraud in this state and who they put up, they have handlers. So it's not about the politician. Just like with Walls, we believe he was removed some time ago, and it's whoever is running the show, because they put these people up that Dayton. Okay, Dayton. We had a department store in Minnesota called Dayton's, and that was his family, very, very, very wealthy.
Target Corporation.
So they totally, everybody in the state knew who Mark Dayton was, that he was part of the Dayton family, which now eventually sold to Macy's. But it was Dayton's growing up. Our whole life, it was Dayton's. And everybody knew Mark Dayton. He was a good looking guy. And all of a sudden he got, and who knows, we thought he was bipolar and that's why he got weird. I think he was drugged. And then they put him in this position of being, he was a senator for a while too.
Yeah.
And so, then carry on to, they allowed the fraud, and then pretty soon Walls get in and go ahead. And that's where we're at now.
Well, like I said, it was common knowledge about the fraud the daycare fraud back in 2013. And they suspected, I don't know how many millions of dollars or whatever, but then the story just disappeared as Dayton left, and if you go back, like I've gone back and archived, and our local Fox 9, they ran stories on it, and even said some people were prosecuted back then, but it wasn't, it was just there, and then it just disappeared, and then nobody really thought about it.
And then the autism thing came up. That came up first, that the Somalis did the autism centers
Feeding Our Future.
Oh, Feeding Our Future was first.
Yeah,
And that was a national news too. And that
COVID money given by the federal government to feed children that weren't in school.
and Omar Ellison, they're all part of this whole thing. But that they said they prosecuted, but that kind of went away. And it's like, well, and it goes back to, we want to see arrests, you know, and I think that's the plan. And they're leaving these top famous people out there to basically piss people off. Like, wait a minute, they did all this, yet we're not seeing anything. I think the underlings have been prosecuted and stuff. And I think these guys have been, we just haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Do you think, like, so you said this was back in 2013 about the daycare. So is this like, first of all, falls into, you know, what we talk about, repeats necessary, and like, you know, where like, you know, some of the patriots think these things have already happened, like, and this is the story that they're now reinventing the story to put it in the narrative now that we're paying attention. And it's, so it did happen. It's just that it happened a while back and it's already been taken care of. And now,
like I said, it just kind of disappeared. So when Feeding Our Future came up, it was like, I was like, oh, whatever happened to the daycare thing where they knew there were some cases of millions of dollars going back to Somalia. I'm like, whatever happened to that? And then I was thinking, oh, part 2. And then the autism thing came up, and now we're back to daycare. They've come like, done a big circle.
So you're just a city of psyops between that and the George Floyd, and then you got tampons.
And here's the thing. I'm the continuity of government person, because, you know, I got into the devolution and the whole thing through my journey. And first thing I did is, when people say things, this could be happening, or throw theories out, I look for it physically. Okay. So for 5 years, I've been watching military fly over my house, sometimes 14, 20 helicopters in a day. 2 at a time, 3 at a time, 5 at a time. I had a C-17 so close over my, and I knew it was a C-17 because I could see the belly of it over my head like 2 months ago. This has been going on for 5 years. 5 years, military flying back and forth.
And her normie husband even notices it.
I've taken video of
I was going to ask my next question, is because now officially what the National Guard's now been called supposedly recently now to Minnesota. Are we saying they've already been there, or are y'all seeing a difference?
They've been there. Even after the Annunciation shooting, the week after that, it was constant. I mean, back and forth all day long for a week after that.
Wow.
Because I was trying to figure out, well, I was trying to correlate actually chemtrails, because I would see the military a lot, and then all of a sudden there'd be a lot of chemtrails, and then we'd have weather. So I was actually trying to do a correlation between maybe the military and chemtrails, and all of a sudden it's raining 2 days later, you know, because I believed in the chemtrails, but I don't believe they're squirting poison on us anymore. I believe it's the weather. I think they're doing
I think they're using the weather as to keep us kind of like focused on the weather, maybe more stationary, so that they can do operations.
Well, then also it'd be a beautiful blue sky, and you'll see these massive chemtrails, but maybe that's also getting people to look up the sky and see the military too.
And you know, it's like I say, it's the whole thing with the people that are awake, not are awake, but are, you know, mega normies, whatever. They know about the elites and the plots, and they believe in the pedophiles, but they think it still all exists out there, where I don't. You know, when I see 21 processing food plants are burnt to the ground, I'm thinking they're getting rid of poison.
Yeah.
People are going, they're trying to starve us. Why would they burn down the thing that keeps us enslaved and keeps us ill, you know? And 1,000 cows drop over from heat exhaustion, die. To me, they're cleaning out, you know, they're getting rid of, here in Minnesota, millions of chickens and turkeys
from vaccinated. Yep.
there's no bird food. So what are they doing? They're euthanizing poison chicken. Why? Because my local uh, grocery store now sells fourfold the cage-free chicken products. You
So
know, I
that's a
see
great
this.
that's a great point too, Sheila. So I just sorry, you just hit on something that I think is very interesting, and I'd love to know if other people are seeing this. I did not eat meat because I don't like factory farms, and I recently found in the Bible where it does say that God provided the animals for our nourishment, but He doesn't believe that we should be wasting, and He certainly doesn't believe we should be torturing them.
Yep.
And I am seeing and I just went through this journey, and I'm going to my grocery stores, and I'm seeing everywhere no antibiotics, which we've seen, but no antibiotics, grass-fed, humanely raised meat. I've
Exactly.
been eating chicken and meat and lamb, and I had humanely raised bacon last night. My husband is so excited. But this doesn't happen overnight. RFK Jr. just got
No,
into
it's
the
been
banana
going
farm.
on. That's
This
why I
takes
say
a long time to get, so it has to have been happening for a long time. And I'm super excited because I was just veggie'd out, and I
this is
so you guys are seeing that too.
I'm seeing Walmart.
yeah.
Go to Walmart. They're
Yes.
chemical-free products.
Yeah.
The stuff I used to, I get a lot of my stuff from Patrick and stuff, but I used to get my chemical-free product all online because now Walmart's full of it. From your lotions, they've got. I mean, I just bought real sugar because
Yes.
I'm gonna make some organic chocolate chip cookies. Real sugar. You have that option of not even Dawn soap is coming carbon free.
I know it's so beautiful.
It's all changing, and it's taken a while. But the best one was, okay, I live a half a mile from the city of St. Paul's water source. It's a big lake, right? Lake Vadnais. They run our water comes up through the Mississippi through a filter system. They do it within the lake, pump it out, and that's Ramsey County gets all their water from that. 4 years ago, my husband and I run around the lake. We walked the lake and stuff. We saw it was drought. We were in a drought, but we saw the lake drop 3-4 feet. And my husband's like, well, it's a drought. And I go, lakes don't drop 3-4 feet in a month, And then a while later, we'd be walking, it's back up. And it was down, back up, down. Watch this happen in a 2-year period, like 8 times, where 4 feet at a time, the lake would drop and come back up. And I'm telling them, I'm like, you know what? I guarantee they're getting the fluoride out of our water somehow. I think this is what it has.
Yeah.
How do you explain this? He goes, yeah, whatever. Well, what's been trending for the last year or two, fluoride, it's bad for you. And they're talking about city municipalities taking it out now and blah, blah, blah. Well,
we're seeing that here too. Yeah.
St. Paul do this summer? Opened up a brand new water treatment plant.
Yeah.
See, because how are you going to get people to wake up if you don't get rid of the fluoride?
Right? Exactly.
But I mean, this is what I mean when I see things, when I look and I can physically see things and I can apply it to what I say is Nasara, because I believe in Nasara. I don't believe we're all going to be millionaires or whatever. I believe Nasara is the way of life and how we are going to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well,
the whole, I can explain it better, but that's the gist of it, that it's about our lifestyle is changing. Like I say, the lake I run around once a week, I used to cut the grass there in the park, and I see outdoor classrooms.
Yes.
That was one of the big ones, how our education system was going to we're going to go by teaching kids how to live instead of programming them for jobs. I see outdoor classrooms now. Every school in the city of St. Paul has been reconstructed or redone in the last 15 years.
The grade school less than a mile from my house. My kids went there. It was a cute grade school. Everything was fine. they built this massive, huge grade school behind it. Goes up to 5th grade, and they got the one summer, 2 summers ago, they just got rid of the existing one and opened up the new one behind it. And like, wait, where's this money coming from? Constantly going around and seeing upgrades on schools or brand new schools.
And then
it's amazing.
Infrastructure is off the chart. 30.
Well, hopefully they're getting rid of all the LED lighting and the bad lighting.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. And you know what? If you look at it like from a 40-foot view or 40,000-foot view, and you see all the parts moving, you can see that they're doing everything systematically without our knowledge. But he's doing it, like, if you can say Trump's doing it, he's doing it by the books. Apparently the army that he has that is going out there in every facet of our life, he's doing it under our noses. But if you're awake, you can see those little idiosyncrasies of things going on and going, oh my God, they just changed that. They just changed that. And they're not telling us, they're just doing it. And eventually people are going to go, oh, well, yeah, because this is the way we used to live. And it's brilliant how they're doing it, And some people don't believe in Nasara, but I'm watching. I invested in silver. I'm watching silver rise, going. And then there's this AI Asian guy that was kind of funny, but at first I looked at him and I go, yeah, he's glitching. He's AI. He's glitching because he was just too smooth and too smart on every single video he did.
Yeah,
but. I think the White Hats put him out to educate, because he had to let us know that when silver did drop like it did, don't lose your shit. Just say, okay, it's all right. So, but when this silver thing goes, now, did you know about the law on New Year's for China? They have a law put in place that you cannot export. They can't export any silver. They're not giving any of their silver away. And what's going to happen there's no silver around. There's none. I mean, and they said it takes 10 years once you start doing the mining thing to actually get silver out. What's going to happen, and the freak out that's going on in Wall Street and the Federal Reserve, Trump's doing everything legal. That's how he's going to take the Federal Reserve down, and that's how he's going to take the IRS down. And all these banks are going to be insolvent. And people are like, well, that's not good. I go, it's not good unless the fact that you think on our line is that he's got something else in place that's ready to.
Of course. Yes.
It's ready to go right in there.
I know that my credit union in the first week in November had this so-called digital system upgrade.
Yeah. Yep. Ours did too.
Well, I like logged in. I'm like, I don't really. They made a big deal about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's got the same feature functionality.
Mine too.
Yep. Absolutely. It didn't provide me any additional anything that I can figure out, other than I had to go and like rechange my password and sign back up again. I'm like,
yep.
I don't get this.
Well, there's something going on.
Something's going on.
Yeah. And you know what? I joke with people here, people that know who I am. I mean, I sat and talked to another bar owner last night, and he goes, he's kind of awake, and he goes, I kind of like the alien thing going on. And then he looked at me, he goes, so flat Earth? And I go, yeah, it's not a sphere. He goes, yeah, me too. And I'd never talked to this guy about it. So it was hilarious. I go, as a matter of fact, went down to Florida for Dave and Rambo's deal. And a girl that came in here last year during bingo and said,
yeah,
I live in St. Louis Park. I have nobody. And she brought her normie mom, which her mom's not doing well in the hospital, and it's very, very sad. But anyways, and her normie sister. And so we became friends. So we flew down there together and we roomed together. And we don't know each other that well, but we had a blast. It was, and we spent so much time laughing, because when you're on the same page as we are during this great awakening, it's very easy to get along with people. So, and then a third person ended up hanging out with us, and she's going to go to Threadfest as well. But so, Christian and I that was when, I don't know if you saw this, Kristen and I got on the plane, and it's weird because they put us up in row 5, and we didn't pay extra for the seat. And they put us in 2 different rows, and the plane was so empty, Kristen was able to come up. Found out the girl at the window seat was totally awake too. And I showed her a picture, and I think it was Joe Biden. And I go, Kristen, I'm going to test this chick. And I go, look at this. And she goes, oh, he's been dead for a long time. And I go, yay! So anyway, the guy in the row behind us had this cute little fuzzy dog, and we're like, oh, cute dog, is a therapy dog. And they, oh, what's your dog's name? His name's Rambo.
No.
So in the next row, we were the row behind the curtain of the first class. The next row was there was a pilot who was just taking the trip, not flying. And I go, what do you think? Which one of us is going to ask him if the earth is flat? And she goes, well, I'll do it, whatever. And I go, it doesn't matter to me. So we're getting off the plane, and everything in front of him was gone. And Kristen just kept walking by, and I looked kind of behind me, and there was no one right behind me. And it was an Asian guy, probably in his late 30s. I go, hey, I got a question. He's a very smiley guy. He goes, yeah. And I go, is it round or is it flat? And he kind of does this. He goes, it's flat. I go, thank you. And I kept walking.
No way.
So
That's
we
awesome.
get on the I don't know, gangway or whatever. And I started laughing. Kristen's like, what's going on? And I told her, she goes, let's find some more pilots. And so we walk out literally, and 2 pilots, and I'll send you this video. It's freaking hilarious. 2 pilots were sitting there. She beelines right to them. She goes, well, and I go, not to bother you gentlemen, and they were younger guys. And I go, is the earth flat or is it a sphere? And they start laughing. And one guy says, well, we're supposed to tell you it's flat. Ha ha. And then I started acting. I'm like, dumb blonde. But what happens when you're flying? No, you got to keep putting the nose down and And he goes, yeah, it's just, you got to go a long ways before you have to do that. I go, I go, there's a mathematical equation that you have to go by, that if that nose tips down. And I go, and what about these bridges that go straight across? And I talked about water real quick. And then the guy, and I had the phone, they didn't know I was recording them. I had the phone sitting there, and I go, guys, we're busting your chops. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. So we get done that. Chris is laughing so hard. Let's find somebody else. I go, I'm done for the day.
That's too fun when you get with a group of people. I mean, that's just so fun. And really, this has been so fun. Hanging out with you. I mean, this has just been, I know the audience is going to enjoy your enthusiasm and your zest for life and all that you're doing. And you've given us such valuable information, and all of the information on how to find both of you, I'm going to make sure I have in all the details down below, because I think they'll enjoy.
I want to say one more thing. And I thought of this, and I mentioned it in a Rumble rant to Dave and Rambo. When both of my parents died, my mom in 2006, my dad in 2015, after my dad, I go, it sucks raising your elderly parents. It's not fun, and it's hard watching what they go through. There should be a really basic handbook. And I know that there's books out there about your parents getting older and stuff, but they should have like a handbook of how to go through all the different aspects of your parent going, they only have so much time, and what you should be thinking of that time. And maybe, and I figured it out when my brother died. I said, okay, bro, they told him he had 30 days left, and he died the 30th day on the day. And that's the power of the mind. Like, they're telling me I'm going to die.
Yes.
Anyway, I want to devise a handbook for the normies who are going to have their minds exploded when whatever happens. I believe we're both on the same page of we're going to have an event. Something major is going to happen. I think it's sooner or later, and I definitely know it's going to be in 2026 because Trump cannot have his big old deal with the normie world. I guess he could, but God, I know people are suffering right now. It's not fun running a restaurant when prices are really high. I'm not making any money. I'm squeaking by. I have to keep selling a little of my silver to get by. I'm just tired of that, and I'm tired of still looking like a crazy person. But when it does happen, it's going to be nice because I've had a lot of parties in Pub Q, and JF and On's been here a couple times. And in the summer, we're going to have Rambo and Dave and Patrick, JF and On, and hopefully, hopefully we'll get Scott, Beard the Parade. I want it to be a celebration, but in the meantime, the people who don't get it, I want a way to converse with them. Now, I can come up with stuff myself, but I want to have it for all of the other people that come to my pub that are just as awake as I am. And
that's a good idea. Quinny.
I started taking notes, and I said something to Rambo and Dave about it on a Rumble Rat. I go, "You guys got to help me," blah blah. And they go, "No, it looks like you can handle it." I go, "Shut up! That's not the point. I don't have a lot of time."
I'd like to talk with you more about this because, to your point, I just lost my second parent in April, and am going through the, like when the first one goes, the other one, you don't have to do anything with the estate because, but then, when you do have that parent, that second parent, and whether it's quick or it's not, each of those situations comes with its own things that you need to deal, you got to deal with it. And like you said, when they start to decline, there's a whole set of things in terms of paperwork and medical things and power of attorneys and directives. And then after that, I'm learning all of this now, dealing with the trust and the will. And so it's been a huge learning experience.
Yeah.
And if I can learn that, and if I can figure out a way to help somebody else that would be going through that, and I would love to talk with you more about that, and anybody else that is listening to this, maybe there's a side, something that we form so that when people are going through this, they have a place to go to get some answers, and they don't have to go pay outrageous attorney fees to get what it is that they need. Or it's hard to trust medical people. But the people that went through it, that would be an amazing thing for us to help share and to give back. So let's not let this fall off the plate. I'd love to talk with you about this more.
Okay, cool. And like I said, when the proverbial shit does hit the fan, they're going to need us. We were blessed to wake up and be excited and all this, and like want to the knowledge out there. You just wanted to just keep going. I remember 3 a.m, and she and my brother and I were just texting, "Hey, are you watching Snedeker? Are you watching this?" Starting with the old Charlie Ward and and Simon Parks. Oh, and by the way, Simon Parks is a real dude that has that group connecting consciousness, because I found a guy who actually said, "My wife's a conspiracy theorist. She says we're watching a movie." And I started laughing. And she was a nurse and she quit because of the COVID shots and stuff. But she is part of connecting consciousness. So Simon Parks is not full of crap. He actually started this thing. Now, when he's ever going to move to the United States, I don't know, because he still has the boxes behind him. It's like going on 5 years now. It's hilarious. But
I have some people involved with that. There's a little bit of discontent there in that organization, which is a whole other story. But
I got it.
But there's just so much turmoil and information. And I was also involved with Quantum Stellar Initiative with Emily Tang back in the day with Charlie Ward, and that's a scam that will be exposed. But it's just, with the good and the bad, it's amazing that what we're living in, because we are in the midst of this most amazing time to be alive, and within that there's these pockets of just craziness. That's why I think we always have to take everything with a grain of salt and kind of keep our head on a swivel, and as they always say, not just to be able to look at things without reacting in an emotional way too. There's just so much. But
And
I
we
think
don't know
your
what the
idea,
other side's going to look like for the other
yeah,
people,
right, yes. And again, that's why I think that we are now in a time, those of us that are see it are in a calm state and are in a peaceful state, because that's going to be the greatest handbook for people who are
True,
just
true.
entering into this,
Yep,
to be able to
yep,
calm them, for sure. So
yep.
I mean,
So,
it's just the most incredible time to be alive, and I just love that we know that. We know
yeah,
that it's the most incredible time to be alive, you know what I mean? So I thank you, so much for spending time with us, and 2026 is gonna be
It's going to
but
be great.
yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
going to be
be
good.
fantastic, fantastic. So I'm gonna make sure we have all your information down below, because I know people are gonna wanna stay connected with you both and hear more from you. So
Yeah,
if nothing
absolutely.
else, I know a lot of people are gonna be on celery juice, if nothing else,
Yes.
that's for sure.
Can I add just one quick thing here?
Yeah.
I've questioned everything my whole life. Everything my whole life.
Question with boldness.
And about God and everything, well, why do we have why did God create cancer? Why is all this why is all this bad stuff happen all the time? And this awakening has answered probably 95% of the questions that I grew up asking myself. I
Yeah.
get it now.
Mhm.
So this whole
Yes.
thing has been so easy for me. So
Yeah.
easy. And
Oh,
I
isn't that
feel, and I think that's why I was picked, because I think
yes.
we were all picked
Yep.
for a reason. And now it just all makes sense in my brain.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very at peace with everything right now. So I'm in a wonderful place, even though, like I said, I have a normie husband. He's coming along now. He had 3 COVID tests, all were positive, and he goes, "Oh, I even got a runny nose," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Not a surprise.
know."
Oh, no,
So
definitely.
anyway,
You can feel the joy within our community because we do have that inner knowing of what is coming.
and
And it's
you can feel the power through the computer,
absolutely.
Yeah.
the energy and the love through the computer.
Yep.
Can we
Yep.
have you girls
You
back on
really,
for part 2? Because there's
Oh,
just so
yeah,
much.
yeah,
We got to
yeah.
do a part 2.
All right,
All
that
right.
there
sounds
is.
good. Sounds
What do you
good.
Thank
think?
you so
Appreciate you
much.
guys. Thank you
Yeah,
very
we
Thank
much.
you
can't wait.
guys. Loved it. This was amazing.
Happy New Year to you both.
You too. I know
Happy
you
New
got a
Year.
happy New
Say hi,
Year.
Bones. Say hi, Bones.
Say hi, Bones.
Okay.
Bones woke up this year too. He's my manager, so he woke up.
Hi, Bones.
Hi,
Happy New
Bones.
Year. Okay.
All
All right.
right.
See you.
All right.
Take
Take care.
care. Bye.